I think right from day one thing we'd gotten right is when we were selling only bread and about, I think at that point, about 10 SKUs of bread, we had this philosophy that we want to make everything with sourdough. We want everything with zero maida. We wanted a cleaner product, no preservatives. But we had this across price ranges and across use case scenarios,
Hmm.
which meant that we also had at that point half of a full wheat for about 25 rupees, and we had a sourdough for 200.
Hmm.
And these use case scenarios are different within the same family. At times, the families are also different. So to have a product that fits for you across the day is what is a base concept that has worked for us. This same sensibility was brought into other categories when we entered like cakes, cookies. I mean, today you can buy from us a single muffin for your on the go thing. I'm going to have a quick snack in the afternoon. So you can have a single muffin, or you can buy a full cake depending on having guests over. So because there are multiple use case scenarios, we find that scaling up was easier. Okay, this is the way we look at it is our first criteria is to develop a product which is better for you. Now, the minute I say we make a healthy cake, ये थोड़ा really doing is we know you want to indulge, and which is why you're having a cake, but can you have a guilt-free indulgence? That means, can we take away the things that bother you the most about it? And two things that come up in every discussion we have with consumers is they don't want to eat maida, they don't want to have palm oil. The long-term effects of these things are so bad that this is what we want to avoid.
Hmm.
And that is what those are the kind of things we use to make our product. Now comes to how much will this cost us. We are During our customer discussions, we are very well aware is what the consumer is willing to go up to pay, because every customer will have to pay extra if you want something better. This is something I think customers tell us, because they're like, if you make something better for me and you sell it at the same price, then I will just not trust you because it's not possible.
Right.
So now the price point decision comes that this is the consumer's limit to be able to pay. What is the best we can do for them in that price limit?
Hmm.
And there are some products which don't fit that bill, and then we say, okay, let's not launch it because it will just not make sense. So you have to pick and choose. You have to design that, are we first designing for indulgence or are we first designing for health? That has to be a very clear. Anyone who says I do both, yes, you may do both, but you must be doing more of one over the other. That's always the case. Now, I'll give you an example, which is I feel like it's one of those examples that's worked brilliantly well for us. About 3 years ago, we had a product called a chocolate almond cake on our menu. And this had Dutch cocoa, and this had almond powder, and this had almond flakes, and it sounds really nice, right? For some reason, this was just not selling as much. And then we said, why is this not selling? Because on paper, it's perfect. It has all the tick marks. And when we went back to consumers and we did a lot of research with them, we realized they did not find it indulgent enough. They wanted it softer, but because this is made with butter and almond flour, it is drier by nature. They
Right.
wanted it gooier, they wanted more chocolate. They didn't really care much for almonds. So we were actually overpricing it by giving customers something they never wanted. So we said, okay, let's rework the recipe and what they want. And the first thing a customer wants in a cake or a cookie is indulgence. They've not come here for health. The first thing they want is indulgence. Next thing they want to know is, what are you going to do so that when I'm indulging, I feel less guilty?
Hmm.
I mean, there's never going to be a day, right, where eating a cake is better than eating broccoli. We are not fighting with broccoli. We are saying you were going to eat a cake, you were going to indulge. Let me give you something better. It has to score 9 out of 10 in terms of indulgence. So when we do a lot of competition benchmarking, it has to score at least 90%, saying this is genuinely the best tasting. Now the customers also decided, अरे मैंने इतना अच्छा केक खाया and इसमें तो मालूम है मैदा ही नहीं था, इसमें palm oil ही नहीं था, and that is where that is when it kicks in. Having said that, when we do breads, it's the other way around. With breads, there has to be clear health benefits. A lot of health benefits someone's looking with bread is gut, because bread ka biggest drawback is gut. So, which is why we make everything with sourdough, that this bread that you're going to eat is the most gut friendly bread. Having said that, it's also really tasty. So, category to category, the score changes a little bit. So the way we look at it is Christmas is a very, very big event for us in our calendar. and we wanted to identify more such events to be able to participate. And there is nothing bigger than cricket when it comes to in India. I mean, actually, that's true for several countries, but India, the cricket is one of the biggest events that happens. Now, we've had this idea of being a part of the IPL for several years, but we didn't really have the right product fit. Earlier last year is when we developed this product called protein chips, and we said, okay, this is a great snacking product during the IPL, because what is one common thing that happens in every household from 7:30 to, let's say, 11:30 at night, or on a weekend during the day, is you are eating something, you're munching on something whilst watching whoever is your favorite team. So we said this is a great time to talk about our protein chips during IPL because it's a snacking time. Now there are different ways of participating with the IPL scenario that happens in our country. The way we wanted to do is we wanted to sponsor a team. Uh, RCB is such a natural fit in the sense, I think there are very similar brand values. Also, when you're doing a fit, you also want to see which brand has the highest traction in the kind of TG you want. And RCB, I mean, there's no contesting the fan following RCB has, right?
Right.
And not just Virat Kohli, but RCB as a team today. And and that just made, I mean, there was never any thinking about it. It's someone approached us saying, listen, this is an option, would you like to do? And we were like, yeah, this is definitely the right fit for what we're looking at right now. The way I've always looked at product development is this a product I would feed myself, or I would feed my friends and family? If yes, let's make it. If no, then I don't want to make it. It's just something, it was just such a clear way to define the brand. because अगर तुम खुद नहीं खाने वाले तुम बनाने क्यों वाले हो? This got further cemented when I was pregnant with my twin boys. And because when you're pregnant, people around you get super sensitive about what you're going to eat. And I said, am I going to eat my product during the most vulnerable stage of my life when I'm pregnant? And if the answer is yes, then this is a brand I want to back all my life. And I ate all my products throughout my pregnancy. When my kids were about 6, 7 months old and could start eating solids, and I was like, is this a product I'm going to feed them? If yes, then that's what I want to be. So I feel like through different stages of, that's always been the common philosophy. Is this something we are going to eat? And it's not just for me, even in our company, whether it's in the office team or in the production team, we always tell our bakers, is this something you are going to eat? Only then should you make it and pack it. So there are times when in the packing room, products have been kept, and let's say one cupcake falls on the floor for whatever reason, mishandling. And I tell them, will you pick this up and eat this now? And if his answer is no, I said, then that means it has to go to the bin. You cannot pack it. So these hygiene standards, which they're very systematically defined, but we always try to emotionally tell them, okay, is this something you would have done? And if no, then let us not make it. And which means I mean, in our factory, we actually do the opposite. We incentivize a QC team. The more you reject, the better it is. Because that means you did not care about saving money. You actually cared about sending the right product in the market. So that philosophy trickles down in the entire company.